Now, this is not the first time that the Philippines and Kuwait got entangled because of labor issues. Kuwait is a small country in the Middle East, covering less than 7 square miles and holds a population of just over 4 million people. Despite this, the country is one of the world's richest oil reserves, and it drove Saddam Hussein to invade the Gulf state in 1990. Kuwait may have a small population, but it hosts a large Filipino community. There are around 260,000 Filipinos in the country, almost all of whom are domestic helpers. More than half of them are women. But Filipinos aren't the only domestic helper in the Gulf state. All in all, there are 660,000 domestic helpers in Kuwait, hailing from Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, and Indonesia. But the biggest bulk still comes from the Philippines. In fact, 4 out of 10 domestic helpers in the Middle Eastern country are Filipinos. Notably, Kuwait has the largest DH to citizen ratio in the entire Middle East. There's 1 domestic helper for every 6 Kuwait citizens. The small country has a long-standing history of abusing Filipino helpers, but the worst in recent memory happened in 2018 when the corpse of Joanna Demafelis was found inside her employer's freezer. Demafelis had been missing for 1 whole year before her body was found. Her employers were nabbed by the Interpol abroad. Nader Essam Asaf, a Lebanese, was arrested in Lebanon while her wife Mona was found in Syria. But it didn't end there. The Kuwaiti government was outraged when Philippine embassy personnel took a video of rescue operations involving distressed OFWs and subsequently released the footage to the public. The Kuwaiti government declared Philippine Ambassador Renato Villa persona non grata and ordered him to leave. In response, the Philippines ordered a deployment ban to Kuwait. Now, in the end, the 2 governments agreed to resolve the conflict and the ban was lifted. To facilitate a better relationship, then DFA Chief Alan Peter Cayetano and Kuwaiti Foreign Minister Shabab Khaled Al-Hamad Al-Sabah forged a memorandum of agreement on May 2018. Under the deal, Kuwait committed to new responsibilities in order to protect the welfare of Filipino workers. For one, the country promised to put a stop to the kafala sponsorship system. Now, this controversial scheme gives way too much power to employers and reduces domestic helpers to slave-like status. Under the new deal, employers are no longer allowed to keep the worker's passport. Likewise, employees were given the right to own and use cell phones. The Kuwaiti government was also obliged to enforce the salary promised to Filipino workers in their contracts and to regularly check up on the situation of domestic helpers. On the other hand, the Philippines agreed to ensure that our workers will observe the laws and culture of Kuwait. OFWs were also required to undergo training in specialized schools like TESDA. The Philippine government was also mandated to secure medical certificates and law enforcement clearances before deploying workers. But did all these come into fruition? That's a question now. 2 OFWs died in Kuwait last year despite the existence of such a deal. Aside from Jeneline Villavende, Constancia Dayag also died at the hands of a Kuwaiti employer in May 2019. She was brought to the hospital and was declared dead on arrival after her employer beat her up. Constancia's corpse was black and blue, and authorities believe she may have also been sexually abused. The nonprofit group Blas Ople Policy Center adds that there are more than 200 runaway domestic helpers in Kuwait who are hiding from their abusive employers.